Heron Michelle with the Sojourner Whole Earth Provisions in Greenville, North Carolina, back for the 6th and final installment of my Lunar Magic Candle series, created exclusively for the Sojourner and now available for purchase through our website, thesojo.com. I'm also the author of Elemental Witchcraft, a guide to living a magical life through the elements, which is available through the Sojo. And in that work, you'll find the recipes for all the blends that I'm using today and throughout this series. So we're working Aquarius Leo today. We currently have a sun in Libra, an air sign, and we have a moon waxing in Aquarius, an air sign. Aquarius is ruled traditionally by Saturn, but in modern astrology by Uranus. That is considered in higher octave of Mercury, and my air blends are blended for Mercury primarily, but also when I've looked up those correspondences, ticks those boxes as well. Today is Tuesday. This is the day of Mars, Tears Day, and Mars is the fiery planet most often associated with the fire element and is heavily blended here in my fire blend, as well as the sun. Leo, which we're working here, is ruled by the sun, so those solar correspondences in my fire blend work there well as well. Some of the things for Aquarius that are Uranus specific are in both of my blends, actually. So my candles today are loaded with my air incense and my fire incense, as well as my air and fire oil. And when I was looking to make sure that Uranus had the, something specific in there, I found that the allspice, the clove, the cinnamon, nutmeg of my fire blend all associate with Uranus, but also star anise does, and that's in my air blend. So we're covered there. I also found that the color of Uranus, if we were to assign a color, would be the deep ruddy reds like garnet and ruby. So I think I'm going to cover that base with garnet. I've got some garnet sand. I've used it previously in one of my other candles. It's a versatile stone, but I'm going to go with the deep red of this garnet sand for my Aquarius today. And Uranus. In Leo, made sure we had some good stuff there. For the crystals of Leo, I've chosen carnelian and golden tiger eye blend of chips. I only had a little bit of each one, so I decided to blend them together. So during these 2 lunations of the year, we'll be working with the fixed energies of both Aquarius and Leo. Fixed is the center of the cycle. It is when it is sustained. It is high tide. It is the full moon equivalent. It is the summer solstice equivalent. It is that apex of the season, the midpoint of the middle sign of a season that contains 3 signs. Are cardinal, fixed, and mutable, and each season has all 3 signs. So we're working on fixed energy. This is going to really feed projects that are already going. It's going to sustain and continue to grow the spells that have begun in each season. So that's good fixed energy. They're paired by polarity. Aquarius is an air sign. Leo is a fire sign. They are both considered projective signs. The pairing along the axis of consciousness lies between the self, expression and creativity, and expression and creativity on a more universal, higher spiritual plane. So the middle self versus the higher self. So let's work through this graphic that is my original art, made into a sticker, already applied to my candles. Let's begin with the Aquarius in the growing light half of the year. When the sun is crossing Aquarius, there will be a full moon on the opposite side of the earth in opposition to Aquarius. So the opposite sign across the zodiac wheel of the year will be Leo. So we'll celebrate that injection of fire energy into this big brain, thinky, idealistic, humanitarian, airy, genius, thoughts and ideals kind of sign of Aquarius. We'll get this injection of very personal, how do we apply this to self and our beloveds closest to us energy of Leo, and we call that the quickening moon. Quickening, thinking about a catalyst you inject fire in there and it quickens and it gets some action behind it. So very necessary, I'd say, in the middle of the cold, aloof, solitary, sedate winter. We get a little zhuzh of energy to help apply this, not only to ourselves, but to our beloveds and to humanity. And the quickening moon. During that time period, there will also be a dark moon when the moon and the sun are conjunct in the same sign, so we get an opportunity to fully integrate this Aquarian energy. In the bottom panel here, I have an image of the water bearer, which is the emblem of Aquarius. And that is why we often have the confusion of Aquarius being a water sign. It is not. It is an air sign, but it is the water bearer. I've also got her bedecked in a candle wreath around her head that is emblematic of the Sabbath of Imbolc, which we celebrate at that midpoint of Aquarius, that grand Sabbath of Imbolc. We often will light candles, and in some traditions they'll wear a candle wreath on their head. We have the alchemical symbol of air. Aquarius is often symbolized by the star card in the tarot. And the star card is a pouring out of one's creativity and expression as a conduit between the higher consciousness of divinity, allowing yourself to be the vessel through which this divine inspiration is being poured. So the water bearer is not really bearing so much physical water, but consider that the divine love, the divine inspiration of higher consciousness and divinity through one's creative expression to be made available to others on earth, shared with others on earth. And so rather than it being so much like water, in my image, I have it more like stars, the twinkle of divinity. In the upper panel, I try to show the physical relationship between the elements here in the material world. And in this case, I've chosen to show the star again with the image of, a fiery star at the center of this blazing light through the void of space. And so here we have all that combustion, but I show the star each with the air symbols on the points. So again, just working the air and the fire imagery in the star itself, but at a distance, a far more aloof distance. And we do know that there's a sun, essentially, at the center of each one of those stars, but at a greater distance from us. Then, flip side of the year, the dark side of the year, during the fixed summer time period, we have Leo. So when the sun is crossing through fiery Leo, we will have us a full moon. We call that the corn moon, and it is when the moon is in opposition to the sun, so opposite side of the zodiac wheel in Aquarius. So here we have all of this speed and get it done of summertime and all the high summer good stuff we have going on there. We also celebrate the Sabbath of Lammas or Lunasa at this midpoint of Leo, so it's the grand Sabbath time of summer. We celebrate the corn moon, and we get that injection of Aquarian energy. And so in all of this personal get up and go and make it happen and sustain our lives and have a good time and enjoy the pleasures of Leo, the creativity and expressions of Leo, and how we share that with our family and friends. It's like if all the world's a stage, then we can be sure that our Leo friends are both the director and the lead in that play, and they're making sure everybody's okay, and they're very warm, they're very caring and energetic and passionate. They'll happily fight somebody for you. They're very passionate and in defense of their friends and beloveds. They can be very commanding, very loyal, very courageous, like the lion. So Leo is symbolized by this lion. In the bottom panel here, we have the emblem of the sun. The sun rules Leo, very bright and shining and giving and sustaining of the world. Good energies for a fixed sign. We've got the alchemical symbol of fire here. But in this top panel, more personal. So the star, we know it's a sun out there, but it's far away, aloof in the void of space. It's higher consciousness of this aspect. But here on Earth, we know it as the sun, our sun that gives us light and warmth and heat, makes life possible on Earth. And I've also got us some sunflowers, but also just showing how it shines through the airy atmosphere and illuminates our planet Earth, provides us the beauty of sunflowers in the summer. So some of the fun things about working through this balance of the self and consciousness is, whereas Leo is very warm and personable and sunshiny and dramatic and courageous and loyal, and is the center, like the sun, they're the center of their own solar system, which brings into their sphere of influence devoted friends and family. They're the life of the party. They make sure that the party's happening and you're invited and you feel good when you're there. Leo, I'm always think most about my little sister, Heather Ann, who is the perfect Leo for that. And I always know that I am safe and supported in her sphere and well taken care of, and that there'll be good food and good times. It'll be beautiful. It'll be dramatic and thematic and awesome when I'm around my little sister. Meanwhile, on the flip side, Aquarius also cares very deeply about the world and ideals and humanitarianism and the universality of these ideas, wanting everyone to be included, everybody to have pleasure and creativity and expression, personal freedom, personal liberty. But they're more aloof, a little cooler, not quite so personal. Don't necessarily need to get into the business of the individual lives of everyone around them, but they will make sure just as passionately that everybody is provided for. Uranus is one of the more recently discovered planets, discovered around the same time that we were having the U.S. and the French Revolution, 1781. So it's very much about rebellion and liberty and revolt and eccentricity. It's provocative. It's sudden, unexpected changes, very forward-thinking and progressive. Can also be very romantic. It was also the Romantic period was starting then. So romance and progress, all about reform and innovation and individual freedom. So awesome stuff there. So when we're working through what it means to be free, to be able to express ourselves, be creative and innovative, we're balancing this on the self and the personal sphere, like the hometown sphere, the friends sphere, your sphere of influence as an individual, versus the wholeness of the earth, the wholeness of the universe. So that's the magic we'll be working with these. When the sun crosses Aquarius and we're practicing our lunar magic during the lunation, that will integrate Aquarian energy at the dark moon and work on that polarity while the full moon is quickening in Leo. We turn the candle this way on our altar. When we are in that time period where the sun is crossing through Leo, which means that we'll get to fully integrate that at the dark moon, but then we get that injection of Aquarian airy energy with the corn full moon, we just turn the candle this way. I can load the same things into this candle for use on both sides of the year, because things that I need for fire and air, for Aquarius and Leo, are included and are necessary at both times. Even if we're just at the dark moon, having a little bit of the opposite side of the wheel of the year's sign for balance will just help us to keep grounded and centered and balanced and moving forward when we're doing that integrative work. And then if the full moon, we need it anyway. So huzzah. 2 for the price of 1. All of my blends were created according to auspicious timing during a time when those energies were flowing very specifically, so that the creation of these blends encapsulated that energy within them. They were made in religious ceremony. They were made in relationship with the powers and sovereigns of each element. That's encapsulated in the blends. So now when I apply them to anything else, like a candle, that power is immediately transferred via the law of contagion. If you'd like more details and commentary on how and why I do each of those steps the way I have done them, similarly to the same technique in all 5 of the previous videos and previous candle preparations. I encourage you to go back and look at those videos, each one while showing the same technique and talking about each part of this similarly, shares a little bit something different about the process. All of my candles have been loaded. Let's check out that action sequence. I am now ready for the final charge with my charm of making. Now this is a religious ceremony for me. It always involves prayer and grounding and centering and calling in the powers that be, getting my mind aligned properly, getting my heart aligned with the necessary energies. I speak the charm to make my will very clear and align my personal will with higher divine will. Another way that I've done that, of course, is by auspicious timing. I know that divine will is flowing in this particular pattern through fire and air and Aquarius and Leo and Mars and Sun and all these things. I know that's happening already today. Makes it easier to align. Get my body involved. Touch it, smell it, see it. Make it beautiful. Make it sensory. I need to really have my senses engaged. And then, of course, my spirit through prayer. So let's begin. I begin by grounding and centering, focusing on the breath, remembering myself like the Axis Mundi tree, much like the image of the tapestry in my art behind me. I see my own roots in the bedrock, in the water table, and down into the planetary center, connected to Gaia, the goddess, the underworld. It's not really the energies we're pulling up today for this work, but in order to remain balanced, tapped in, and aligned, not to burn up or burn out or go crazy when I'm doing this, I always like to call all 5 pinnacle powers. So I see that watery, physical goddess energy flowing up. I remember my branches in the atmosphere, my lungs like my leaves in respiration, connecting to the powers of air. I see my branches and my leaves and connected to the sun, soaking in the powers of the sun, the powerhouse, transmuting that energy from the sun into energy that I can use here in the physical world. I connect all the way to the God, cosmic God, Uranus, Aquarius, the sun in Leo, that higher octave of divine mind and divine will. I call down those airs and fires of the God into this working. I see myself as the physical conduit, like the water bearer, the vessel that brings forth this creative, expressive energy into the world. I activate it within these candles, flowing down through my mind and my heart and my will and my body and my spirit, down through my hands into these candles. Sun in Aquarius brings Uranus liberation, fixed winter's respite of purification, dark Aquarius moon, full Leo quickening, genius freedom from pride's conditioning. Sun in Leo, the sun takes the lead, fixed crown of summer speed, dark Leo moon, full corn Aquarius, sets a personal stage for higher consciousness. Sun in Aquarius brings Uranus liberation, fixed winter's respite of purification. Dark Aquarius moon, full Leo quickening, genius freedom from pride's conditioning. Sun in Leo, the sun takes the lead, fixed crown of summer speed. Dark Leo moon, full corn Aquarius, sets a personal stage for higher consciousness. Sun in Aquarius brings Uranus liberation, fixed winter's respite of purification. Dark Aquarius moon, full Leo quickening, genius freedom from pride's conditioning. Sun in Leo, the sun takes the lead, fixed crown of summer speed. Dark Leo moon, full corn Aquarius, sets a personal stage for higher consciousness. So mote it be. Remember that the first time you light the candle, you want to leave it lit for as long as it takes for it to become liquid across the entire surface all the way to the glass. This will prevent tunneling. Also remember that while paraffin wax, which is the wax of these candles, might be economical and the easiest way to get a 7-day candle like this, that wax is not the best choice for holistic witchcraft. But once the first burning is complete, you can reload the candle with an insert of something more sustainable like beeswax or soy. And then you can choose to reload it yourself. However, the charge of this original candle, if you leave all the little bits of herb and stone in the bottom, will also transfer. Now that you have this glass candle, you can use it for all of your witchcraft and the lunations of Aquarius and Leo for the rest of your practice. So that's there for you. Heron Rochelle here with the Sojourner Whole Earth Provisions, premiering the Lunar Magic Candle series by Zodiacal Pairing. 6 candles for 12 lunations worth of work. This Lunar Pairing candle series was inspired by Ivo Dominguez Jr., Practical Astrology for Witches and Pagans, where he talked about how the lunar pairings always match by modality, polarity, so elemental pairing, and work various angles of the self. Remember that in any lunation, you're going to have a full moon and a dark moon, but there's no guarantee, depending on the year, which one will come first. Sometimes there's dark moon leadership, where the dark moon in that pairing comes first. And during that time, it's good to work magic first of releasing and removing the barriers to that work before you grow into that space with the full moon tide, what you wish to replace it with, and how you wish to grow. I'll be including all of this information in my forthcoming book, Through Llewellyn, the second in the Pinnacle Path series called Lunar Witchcraft, and this working has really helped me hone those exercises, so those will be coming soon. Thank you for your purchase through thesojo.com. We're very grateful. Blessed be.